Am I the a-hole for screaming at my pregnant sister-in-law that she's a witch and brat? My sister-in-law, 32, is 4.5 months pregnant. Since she discovered she is, she has been making various requests, which I am not happy about. To give some context, she demands that if we go to family dinners in a restaurant, we have to avoid certain places such as kebabs or sushi. But it doesn't just stop with that. It is basically anything. We can't go to cafes because she says the smell of coffee and pastries make her sick to her stomach, and that besides that, she can't drink coffee which she used to love. She is also in my friends group which I introduced her to, and has the same attitude around clothes. We can't go shopping anymore because she will start crying that she can't wear the clothes, or that the heels won't fit her. We have told her that there must be clothes with a bigger size to complement her body now, but she says that is a waste of energy and money. In 3 weeks, it will be my 30th birthday, so I want to make it special. And since I was a child, my best friend and I's favorite food has been sushi, and we used to go out to this sushi place once a week. So, I found this restaurant who will deliver me these freshly made sushi rolls, and I have told sister-in-law today about this, so I can warn her about the potential nauseating smell that she says she hates. The moment I told her, she got very mad. She told me how selfish I was for choosing the main food that she cannot eat at the moment. I tried to explain to her that I had always planned this, and that I will also gather food specifically for her. But she did not hear me. She screamed that I was doing this on purpose, just to humiliate her like all the other times. It was then when I got very mad, and screamed back in front of her whole family. We were previously alone, but after hearing her screams, people started to come. That she was being a witch since she found out she's pregnant, and that she's using it as an excuse to be a brat, and that now she's prohibited from being near my house the day of my birthday. After that, I was having none of it and went away with my husband, leaving her crying. All of this was yesterday, and since then I have not stopped getting messages from Hub's family telling me to apologize. Because while she may have been behaving very demanding, she is pregnant and I shouldn't put through emotions like that, and that I was very cruel, especially for the sushi on my birthday thing. My husband agrees with me, but I am not sure. Maybe I have not been empathetic. But I have thought about me being pregnant and I wouldn't behave like that. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Pregnancy isn't an excuse for crappy behavior. Is it understandable why she can't have sushi? Yes. Does it mean she can dictate how you celebrate your birthday, especially when you had plans to accommodate her? Absolutely not. Not the a-hole. Also, now doctors do not forbid women from eating sushi or drinking coffee. Just make sure the sushi is fresh. And eat/drink it in moderation. Don't have it every day. Not the a-hole. Sushi is prime, and is especially nice to have on your birthday. Happy early birthday, Opie. Sister-in-law sounds entitled AF. There have been dozens of posts lately about pregnant women being extensively entitled, and it's ridiculous. I had hyperemesis for all 4 of my pregnancies. My diet and what was good was limited. Even so, the extent of my rules were no one shared my French fries. Do not steal a single fry. And my husband couldn't have hot peppers on his subs. Some of the time. He checked with me. On a good seat, I could tolerate the odor. I was hospitalized for hyperemesis and I learned to manage it after that. It was work. If someone's birthday treat was a restaurant specializing in coffee and hot peppers in a place I could not have safely gone to, I would encourage them to go, wished them happy birthday, and pleasantly said I would stay home. Because who wants to ruin someone's birthday? Tell them to knock it off. She can be a reasonable adult and go and eat something cooked. Or not go, and recognize that this is temporary, and you get to celebrate your round number birthday even if she is pregnant. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter I don't like how she treats my husband? I am a mom of 3. My oldest daughter, Gracie, is from my first marriage who just turned 17, and I have Milo 10 and Lyric 7 with my current husband. My ex-husband and I separated days after Gracie's first birthday because he told me he wanted to see other women and wanted me to wait for him. I did not and filed for divorce. Though he always remained part of Gracie's life, he made it clear he only wanted me when it suited him. Then after the divorce, I met my current husband. Gracie was 4 before she was introduced to him, and her dad was angry when I found someone else. He hated my husband, and Gracie always knew it. I went through the courts when my ex would not stop bad-mouthing my husband to Gracie and did not leave her out of the adult issues we were having. The courts were not helpful at all and sent us to co-parenting classes. Gracie was hesitant with my husband, and she adored her dad and didn't want him to feel hurt. This is something she told a therapist when she was young. Then, when she was 8, her dad died, and it feels like ever since then there was no way my husband could be anything to her. We never expected him to be her dad, but to be someone she trusts and cares about. Gracie holds him at arm's length and doesn't treat him like a member of her family. She doesn't include him like she does extended family. An example was last March. She was spotlighted in her arts club, and she sent a group chat message to me, both sets of grandparents and her uncles and aunts, but did not include my husband. I mentioned it to my husband when I got home, and she made it home before me and still hadn't told him. I brought it up to her, and she said he wasn't on the need-to-know list for her. It hurts my husband, and I have tried to facilitate their relationship to be more, but I don't think it was enough. A couple of days ago, Gracie was saying she needed help with some engineering questions, and she wanted to go over to my brother-in-law's, sister's husband, brother's house to ask him some questions. I asked her why she had to go all that trouble when my husband could have answered the questions for her. She said it made more sense to her to ask her uncle's brother. This is when I told her I don't like how she does that, how she treats my husband like he's not there, like he's not part of the family. I told her we never ever ask her to replace her dad or to consider them the same, but she excludes him and keeps him out, and he has only ever been kind to her. I told her it's something I would like her to work on. She got mad and told me I chose to marry him. She didn't choose to have him in her life. She also said it wasn't my business what their relationship is like. I told her I'm her mom and I love her, and I'm his wife and I love him, and I just want them to get along. She's still angry at me and I'm trying to figure out if I did a wrong thing here. Am I the a-hole? I'll say no a-holes here. I think you and Gracie are both coming from genuine emotional places. Neither of you said anything trying to hurt the other. It's very natural for you to want her to have a good relationship with your husband. It's also pretty natural for her, given her life story as you present it, to not feel that close to him. And while it would certainly be very nice if she did put in more effort with him, I don't think it should be required of her. Often, when a parent tries to steer their child towards something, the child will go the other direction. As hard as it might be, I think the subject should be dropped and accept Gracie where she's at. Maybe in time, without the pressure, she will develop the love and respect for the role her stepfather has provided. We can't change how others behave, just how we react to their behavior. Not the a-hole for what you said to her. Sadly, your ex may have completely poisoned Gracie's mind when she was very young, to where she's turned into this hateful teen towards your husband. I don't know if there's ever going to be recovery from this. And shame on the courts as well. I'm sorry you're having to be stuck in the middle on this. I'd say your now deceased ex is the true a-hole. It kills me that he managed to turn her against the idea of a relationship with my husband so well. I can understand being jealous to a point, but he's the one who wanted to be with others and expected me to wait around for him. He was such a selfish a-hole, and I wish I'd known that when I was married to him. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my friend and his fiancée move in with me? To me, this is simple that I've done nothing wrong, but some people are saying I'm an a-hole, so I'd like the opinion of this fine sub. So I am 28 male, and my friend Tom is 29 male, and his fiancée Kat is 31 female. Recently, Tom and Kat have come into financial issues and are unable to pay for their rent. As it stands, they can either move in with Kat's parents who live roughly 2 hours away, or they can move in with me until they find another place to rent. Now, they would rather move in with me. I live alone in a 3-bedroom house, so I have the space. It would be easier for them as they can stay near our other friends and close to Tom's work. There's also a lot of parks nearby, so Kat can take her dogs for walks. That's all well and good for them. However, the idea of living with someone, let alone 2 people, does not sit well with me. I have 1 bedroom where I sleep. The other 2 bedrooms are my home office and my library. Furthermore, I love the feeling of coming home to an empty house. Everything is as I left it, and I can properly unwind. Also, living alone makes it easier to bring girls over. So, I told Tom and Kat this, and they were not happy. They called me selfish for not sacrificing for them, said a true friend would help. So I told them the blunt truth, that I would be happy to help Tom. He works full-time and would respect my space. But I did not want Kat to live with me. Reasons being, she doesn't work, so she would be in my home much more than me. Her dogs are inside dogs, and I don't want that at all. And I told them that Thomas told me privately he gets frustrated that he comes home from work and still has to prepare dinner and do most of the chores. I told Kat she's lucky she's with someone who tolerates her and loves her, but I'm not like Tom. I'm not dealing with it. Kat breaks down crying at this point and calls me evil. I apologize to Tom, but tell him he knows my stance. This happened late last year. Right now, Tom and Kat are living with Kat's parents still, and I know it's hard for them. My mates know how Kat is and told me I did the right thing. However, people who are close to Kat are saying I'm a terrible person, and I put them in a situation which might ruin their relationship. So am I the a-hole for not letting my friend and his fiancée move in? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They are. You don't owe anyone a place to live. And honestly, I would never ever let them stay even temporary. Kat seems like the person who would make you evict her to get her out once she gets her claws in. Opie, I would never under any circumstances let them live with you. And no one is entitled to the peaceful home you have created and paid for. I didn't even think of that. Fair point. Kat would go full-on squatters' rights. Plus, move in her druggy mates in the meantime with their dogs. I mean, I saw some horrifying things that happened to people in legal Reddit. More than likely, Kat, who is jobless, would begin getting mail at a property. Once that happens, Opie would be considered her landlord, and in order to get her out, he would be in a lengthy, costly court battle. What other prospects does an adult like Kat, with no job and doesn't do chores or cook, have? Reading your comment literally made me shiver. I don't think it would have ever gotten to that point, but anything is possible, and I'm glad I'm not risking going down that path. Not the a-hole. Tom and Kat aren't looking for a place to stay for a couple of weeks in an emergency. They're looking for a long-term place to live. They got kicked out of their old place because they couldn't pay the rent. They're not magically going to be able to afford to rent a new place. Part of me thinks that's true as well, especially if they get comfortable. They're not comfy at mom's place, yet they remain. Every day they stay lets you know how long they would have been at yours. Plus, extra time once they get comfy. Easily a year. You're fine and they have a roof. Last story. Am I the a-hole for bringing the receipts when my ex had me shunned from our mutual friend group? So, my 26 female ex-boyfriend, 27 male, broke up with me a week ago. It felt sudden to me, and there was no warning it was going to happen. However, we handled it very amicably in my opinion, and he wanted to try and stay friends. I met him online through a mutual friend, and had been friends with him and the rest of the group for a few months before dating. When I went into hospital back in August, I sort of just fell away from that group of people where I couldn't be online. However, one of our mutual friends had caused a lot of drama and we both cut her out of our lives because it was very toxic. Now, in December, she reached out to me, apologized, and we started to talk slowly again. My ex-boyfriend during this whole time would message me and tell me over Discord that he hated her guts. She was an insert bad word here, and that I could talk to her but he was completely done with her. I'd always ask him about hanging out with other friends, or playing games with other people and encourage him to do so while I was sick and or offline. His responses were always, I don't really talk to anyone anymore, or I only want to talk/play with you. And when I dig deeper, he said they all just fell out of touch. Fast forward to the breakup. The first thing he does after our apparently amicable and no hard feelings talk was to go straight to that mutual friend he said he hated with a passion and tell her everything I ever did or said wrong in our relationship. He told her a private conversation we had where I jokingly brought up how often she cycled through flings and told her and every other mutual friend we had that I was the reason he stopped talking to everyone. That he was worried I'd get jealous or upset if he talked to/played with anyone else but me. Because, and I'm quoting him verbatim here, I know how I would feel in that situation and I didn't want to put you through that. I'm sorry, what? So this friend came for me hard over DMs and asked why I would say and do such things. I was shocked and extremely hurt. I never would ask/make someone give up his friends or isolate them from anyone, as this seems controlling and I didn't want that. But my petty self said, screw this. I went through our past conversations, took screenshots, and privately messaged everyone who told this BS to, apologizing that I was the reason they lost their friend. Then followed up with the pictures to prove he did this on his own and against my wishes. These photos may or may not have also shown the crap talk he said about that one mutual friend. He's been blowing up my phone since, asking how could I do that and call him out like that. All he wanted was a clean break and to get his friends back. and that I'm an a-hole for making them question him. I haven't responded because, in my opinion, he lied about me and our relationship to friends we both had, who then took his side no questions asked and kicked me out of their lives and Discord servers based off word of mouth. So guys, am I the a-hole for sending proof to our friends? So, not the a-hole. I can't even imagine how twisted he got himself to try and throw you under the bus like that. I assume it was his way of getting closure, but it was very cruel and so out of left field, especially since he was the one who broke things off. I'm sorry you have to deal with such short-sighted self-satisfaction, and hope you have a bright future ahead. Thank you very much. The experiences I've had this past week are making me realize the breakup is a blessing in disguise. Sounds like a situation I was in with online friends. The guy tossed me under the bus to make himself look good and me look bad. I let it go at a time, but over the months and weeks after, they'd ask me questions, and I'd just share screen with them so they could see unedited Discord conversations. Your guy fooled around and found out. He got exactly what he deserved. Zero sympathy for him. You absolutely dodged a bullet, just like I did. Remember this going forward too. It's a life lesson, not a-hole. I am so sorry you went through that. It's never good when someone tries to ruin a reputation. I'm technologically illiterate 99% of the time and wouldn't know how to edit anything on a laptop or PC if my life depended on it. All my screenshots were from my phone, and they knew immediately nothing was cropped or edited. Am I the a-hole for what I said to my sister after she insinuated I should sell a car and give her money? I am 48 years old, married but child-free by choice. It's something my wife and I agreed on early in our relationship. We both have pretty good jobs and are able to afford many expensive items and activities. I attribute this to our jobs, obviously, but also the fact that we are child-free and live in a one-bedroom apartment. I own a manufacturing plant that was given to me from my father. On that property, I store 4 classic cars that I have bought/restored. I have always been a car guy, and I plan to buy another car in the next year too. I have one sister who is younger than me and never made the best decisions in life. She has a boyfriend who she lives with after getting divorced twice. She's also in her late 40s, and she has 2 kids who already seem smarter than their mom. She makes an okay living, but she's the breadwinner while her boyfriend that she lives with spends most of his time stoned and playing Xbox. He's always looking for a new job or blaming the capitalist system for him not having a job. Her daughter 10 is a very good singer. I don't have an ear for talent, but to me she's very good. My sister has wanted to enroll her in lessons with a private coach but cannot afford it. Sister has asked me to help her out, since she is embarrassed to ask our parents and she also does not speak to the father of her daughter. I declined politely, until she made a comment about my money and cars. Just another must-be-nice comment that I'm all too sick of hearing. Now, here is where I made my a-hole comment. I said, maybe if your boyfriend can put down the dope for all of 10 minutes, he can help you out. And I have 5 cars, I'll buy another 5 before I give you a dime. I said her daughter isn't my responsibility. She's got a mother and a father. If they can't figure it out, it doesn't fall on my shoulders. My sister called my wife and told her how mean I was to her. My wife now wants us to give the money, but I don't want to. Sure, we can afford it, but I'm not my sister's welfare. Last bit, I'm sure some of you will make a comment about how I refer to her daughter, not my niece. Well, they live in another state and have for the entirety of her life. I don't see my sister nor her kids much at all, so I don't really know her kids too well. I send them birthday and Christmas gifts, but I'm not close with them. Edit, this is coming up a lot in comments. My sister could have had a stake in the business, but she didn't want to work there. I worked for my dad all my life and learned a business, but she never did. She knew she wouldn't be getting anything with it, and she was okay with that. I also have given financial support to her before. Now for the top comments. Some people here are missing this piece. I declined politely until she made a comment about my money and cars. Just another must-be-nice comment I'm all too sick of hearing. Bolded is my emphasis. So it's been years of making snide and passive-aggressive comments by the sister. The sister that is too ashamed, or too chicken, or just maybe, has depleted the parents' money train because of her constant begging. Maybe she's made too many snippy comments to the parents too, and they've finally had enough. Now, if she'd been nicer all these years, Opie probably wouldn't hesitate to help out. Opie took on the family business. Opie has made it a continued success. Opie made personal choices that resulted in having a comfortable life. Nobody is obligated to help raise or fund their siblings' children. Sister seems to have a habit of making not-so-smart life choices. That is not Opie's problem. Could Opie have been nicer? Less insulting? Sure. But even the most patient people finally have enough. And that's what this sounds like. Not the a-hole. My brother's ex-wife does this every time my mother gives him something. My mother gave him her old car instead of trading it in when she got a new one, and his ex did the "wow, must be nice" sneer and condescend, and my brother just smirked and said, "It is nice." You were honest about your perspective, and it sounds like your sister needs to get in touch with honesty/reality about herself and others. If she's been expecting other people to take greater care of her and her children than she does, that's unrealistic at best. The articulation may have been frank, but it sounds like she needed, and Opie definitely needed, to have a vivid picture painted. I say not the a-hole. She acts this way because she's one of those "nothing is ever my fault" people. Next story. Am I the a-hole for removing my daughter's bedroom door because she won't stop slamming it? I, 40 female, have 3 kids. Maggie, 14 female, Levi, 12 male, and Charlie, 10 male. Levi and Charlie share a bedroom, and Maggie has her own room as the oldest and also only girl. Maggie's a great kid. She does her homework, helps with chores without too much complaint, doesn't bug her little brothers too much. The issue is that she will not stop slamming her bedroom door. When she gets up to use the bathroom at night, she slams her bedroom door on her way out and back in. When she gets up in the morning or goes to bed at night, she slams it. Pretty much any time she enters or exits her room, the door gets slammed. And it's only her door, none of the other doors in the house. It shakes the walls and frequently wakes up everyone else in the house. Her brother's room shares a wall with hers, and our bedroom is directly above theirs. We've talked to her about it and asked her very politely to please be more mindful about it because it is disturbing the rest of us. But it's in one ear and out the other. We tried being more forceful about it, saying that if she continues to slam her door, there will start to be consequences. Still, nothing changes. It all came to a head the other night when she got up to use the bathroom and all 4 of us were woken up by the slamming. I have to be up at 5 a.m. for work, and I've had enough of the broken sleep and came downstairs and knocked on her door. She opened it and said, "What?" with such attitude it took a lot of self-control not to start yelling. I told her as calmly as I could that if she slammed that door one more time, she was going to come home and find it gone. She proceeded to yell at me to leave her alone, and then slammed it 5 times as hard as she could. Well, the next day, Friday, she went to school and my husband and I both had a day off, so we took the door off the frame and installed a curtain rod with a nice heavy curtain over the door instead. She came home and freaked the heck out. She said we're being emotionally abusive and taking away her right to privacy. She sulked all weekend and won't talk to us now. My mother says I'm the a-hole because I overreacted, but she doesn't have to deal with the house shaking. I want to add that we completely respect each other's privacy in our house, which is why we hung up a heavy curtain and made sure that we couldn't see through it or around it. We even put little Velcro pieces on the walls and curtain sides so it stays in place. She still has her physical privacy, which she is absolutely entitled to, but can't slam a piece of fabric. We also have never and still don't just go into her room unannounced, and still knock on the wall to ask permission to enter. We've told her we'll happily put her door back on once she agrees to respect the no slamming rule. So am I the a-hole? Added to add. 1. The curtain is an industrial type that blocks sound and light. 2. The curtain is only meant to be a temporary measure. As soon as she agrees to stop slamming and be respectful of the shared space, we will put it right back on. 3. The door isn't broken or malfunctioning in any way, and there is no draft causing it to swing shut. Not the a-hole. Interrupting everyone's sleep is unacceptable. You gave her plenty of opportunities to change the door slamming behavior, and she didn't do it. Let her sulk it out for a set amount of time. Let her know this amount. 1 week, 3 days, whatever you choose, then return the door conditionally for a trial. If she can refrain from slamming it, the door gets taken off again for even more time. Rinse and repeat until she no longer slams. The slamming it a few times in a row was the point where the door had to go. Opie's daughter might not have meant to wake others, but at that point, it was teenage spite. My nephew lost his door for slamming it, and when he got it back, he requested padding to help cushion the door. He actually lost the door when he slammed it shut and broke his little brother's foot during an argument. I think that made him feel worse than the actual grounding. My mother would have tanned my hide if I ever slammed a door spitefully, let alone waking up the whole household in the middle of the night. Different times, I know, but kids these days. Not the a-hole. That's what I call checkmate. You're teaching your kid a valuable lesson, that actions have consequences. And she's even able to reverse this decision if she agrees to not slam, which for some reason she won't agree to it. P.S. The curtain was a great touch. I think she'll agree once she's done sulking. She's digging her heels right now because she's a 14-year-old carbon copy of me. Once it goes back on though, I won't even mention the situation again, as long as the slamming doesn't start up again. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he and his wife need to look at themselves for the reason her son is struggling? My dad has me, 16 male, and my brother, 11 male, and our mom died 8 years ago. Dad met Chantel 6 years ago, and they got married 2 years ago. Her son is 10, and my brother and I have known Chantel and her son for almost 4 years now. Chantel's son, Kyle, is an only child, has no dad, no extended family, so he latched onto me fiercely when we met. It was frustrating how he'd insert himself into stuff with my brother. He'd invite himself along, he would try to touch me and hold on to me, and my dad and Chantel told me to allow it and hug him when I'd tell them it made me uncomfortable and annoyed me. Eventually, I started to stop him and tell him not to touch me and not to cling to me. Dad and Chantel realized the three of us hadn't bonded the way they wanted us to. For Kyle. So they insisted on leaving me with both him and my brother and having me babysit them while they left the house. This was during the day and night. Dad would also set up times where I had to take them to the park. So I should bring up my brother and I are close. Like super close. We lost our mom, all 4 grandparents, and our only uncle, though we have aunts, in a space of like 3 years. Losing them made us closer. I was always an affectionate big brother, my mom used to say, and our relationship is so easy and natural that we hug, or I'll ruffle his hair, or he'll sit on me sometimes if he wants something. None of it is forced, and it just kind of happens. Kyle saw a lot of that during the forced babysitting, the forced park trips, etc. And he never got to hang all over me, or be my shadow like he wanted, and I'm not affectionate with him. And it's caused him a lot of trouble dealing with stuff. Chantel was concerned, and so we went to therapy for that. He admitted to being jealous and that he hates my brother, but he also wants me all to himself. He's still in therapy, but he told Chantel that he's never going to be happy not being my brother. Chantel and Dad blamed it all on me. They said I had a responsibility to Kyle to be a good brother to him, and that it was my job as the oldest to look out for him and make sure I was loving him the same as I love my brother. My dad has brought it up a couple of times on his own as well. At the last time, I told him that he and Chantel should look at themselves because they knew Kyle was seriously clinging with me, and they sent him out with me and my brother knowing we're close and have an affectionate relationship, and did nothing to make sure we'd be okay. He told me I should have put my own feelings aside and done what Kyle needed me to do, and Chantel was like, how dare I blame them? And she called me evil for blaming them when I have destroyed her son. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. And yes, it is your father and stepmother's fault. Kyle should have been told that the two of you are brothers. Plus, you've both suffered the same serious losses in a very short time. That means the two of you have a special bond. Kyle needs to be taught his bond with you will be different because of that. And he cannot force it, otherwise that will only drive you further away. And no one should ever be forced to accept affection and clinginess from someone if it makes them uncomfortable. You have the right to pick and choose who's allowed to touch you. I worry about you, to be blunt. In a few years, you're going to be able to live on your own, and you're going to want to have contact with your brother. I suspect your father and Chantel will forbid your brother from coming to see you unless Kyle can go too. Perhaps if you could persuade your father and stepmother into family therapy, the perspective of a qualified professional might help you. I worry about the brother too if Kyle has that much animosity against him and wants him out of the picture. Not the a-hole. Harsh truth time. He is not your brother. He's the child of the woman your dad married and nothing else to you. There is nothing wrong with that. Feelings cannot and should not be forced. Them forcing him upon you is a surefire way to ensure that you will never see him as anything other than annoyance. Why do parents and step-parents on here always think they can force relationships? It's so obviously going to breed resentment and tension and backfire every time. Not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to cancel our honeymoon despite what happened with my brother-in-law? My husband, male 32, and I, female 24, just got married 3 weeks ago, and we are currently celebrating our honeymoon. The plan was to travel for 2 months for different countries of Europe, Asia, and Africa. We currently are in Spain, and we are supposed to take a plane to Morocco in 2 days. However, my husband wants to cut the trip short and go back to our home now. The thing is, his brother is in a horrible situation. His wife and daughter had a car crash, and they're in the hospital. The kid is fine, but his wife has to be a little longer in the hospital. That's all I know. I told my husband that I understand he wants to support his brother, but he's not a doctor, so he can't do anything to help really. And his brother's wife is fine. She probably only has a broken leg or something, and that's why she needs some more days in the hospital. I told him to just call his brother and ask to talk to his wife, so he can send her his best wishes, and that's all that he can do honestly. His parents and his in-laws are helping with the kids, so there's really nothing they need help in. I told him our honeymoon was important, because it's a time for ourselves to enjoy and spend together. He wasn't having any of it. He called me selfish and then he kicked me out of our bedroom. I had to ask for a new one until he decided to let me in again. He told me that he's leaving tomorrow because he needs to be supportive of his brother and told me I can continue the trip by myself. But that's not the point of a honeymoon at all. I told him so, and he said that if he would have known how witchy I was, he would have never dated me. Am I really wrong here? Doesn't matter how well your in-laws are doing. The only important thing here is that your husband doesn't feel right staying away from his family in this time of need. Your husband is not having fun with you right now. He is not enjoying your company because his mind is elsewhere and he is worried for his brother. Yes, it is 100% wrong of you to ask him to disregard his own feeling just so he can keep you company for your own little sake. You're the a-hole. I agree, but I find it very weird that according to OP, her husband knows what is wrong and is refusing to tell her. She wants to call the hospital and see, but he also doesn't want that. It would get me thinking what was going on, to be honest. I think not the a-hole or everyone sucks here. Unpopular opinion, but not the a-hole. No one died or is on life support from the sounds of it. No major surgeries and the brother has support. I would not expect my brother to cut his honeymoon short to come home, especially if I had several others helping me out already. If someone had died, was near death, or was severely disabled, it would be different. Yeah, my partner had a severe work accident that resulted in him being hospitalized for over a month. His family was there for us, and my parents. I would have been really confused if any of my siblings have canceled a really big trip to come sit at a hospital with us. A phone call and checking in to see how things were going was fine. Not the a-hole. Yes, maybe I'm biased because I'm not close to my family at all, but sounds like they're coping and have a solid support network. It sucks it happened, and it sounds traumatic, but FaceTime is a thing. Also, on the flip side, if I was in a wreck and ended up needing to spend a week or two in the hospital, I would not want my sibling or anyone to cancel their honeymoon/holiday to come see me if it's been established a death is not imminent. Not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad to get the heck out of my life and go attend his precious stepdaughter's wedding? My dad wasn't there for me growing up. He and my mom were 22, mom, and 25 him when they had me. He didn't even pay child support for the first 7 years of my life. He was ordered to, but he always found a way to dodge support until eventually he stopped dodging and paid it monthly, along with the arrears he owed. When I was 4, he met his wife and became a father to her daughter, who is 16 months younger than me. When I was 16, he had a change of heart and reached out to establish a relationship with me, fighting to show me he really wanted it. I hesitantly agreed. He was trying really hard and even paid my mom a huge lump sum of the owed child support. What sort of won me over was how he handled his stepdaughter. She wanted me to live with them and wanted a brother because my dad and his wife had 3 daughters together plus his stepdaughter. They consider each other father and daughter because her biological father isn't in her life. She was really pushy with me about moving in with them, insisting my mom kept me from my dad and their family. This was not true, but she wanted to paint my mom as the bad guy. My dad told her she was wrong. He sat her down with me there and told her he had been a bad dad to me, that he made those choices, and that I didn't need to move in. He held his ground even when she pouted and acted like a baby about it. I never wanted to be her brother, and I don't like her. We have a lot of bad blood because she knows I don't want to be her brother and feels I was wrong not to move in with them. I find her entitled, selfish, and bratty. But my dad didn't push me for it or make it seem like I was wrong for not wanting to leave my mom, who had raised me solo my whole life up to that point. He even paid for my college and was there when I needed him. My relationship with him improved, but his stepdaughter and his daughters always came before me. That was something I always felt. Over the last year, things have been different between us. He has wanted me to be more involved in his family and get closer to his stepdaughter. He told me I've had 10 years to embrace everyone and become a full member of the family, instead of treating his stepdaughter like an enemy. I told him it wasn't going to happen. There was drama a few months ago because rumors were circulating that his stepdaughter's boyfriend cheats on her a lot. There's no proof to my knowledge, but rumors show no sign of stopping, and more keep coming out as the months pass. I got engaged last year, and a month ago, my fiancé and I set the date. My dad and his stepdaughter did a Zoom call with me about it, where she asked me to give up the date because she's now engaged and wants to get married on that date. I said no. She whined, and I ignored her. She went ahead and booked the dates anyway, then called my dad via Zoom. He called me and said she needed my dad to give her away. She insisted I had to find another date. I told her to buzz off and left the call. My dad called me and said he needs to be there for her and doesn't want to miss my wedding, so could I please move the date? To me, it was a step too far. I told him to get the heck out of my life and attend his stepdaughter's wedding then. I understood he raised the girls and they came first for him, but after all the fighting he did to have a relationship with me, putting this girl before me was too much, especially for something I booked first. Besides, he made it clear whose wedding he'd attend. My dad has tried to reach out despite what I said, and his wife sent a long email the other night saying I should have compassion and understanding for him. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Nope, and time to block her and her mother. Compassion and understanding for him? You weren't the one who put him in this situation. I think I'll block them all. Better for me. He chose her. That he is pushing you to change your date versus pushing her to change her date speaks volumes. And stepsister only chose that specific date because OP had already chosen it. Stepsister knew dad would choose her over OP, and this was just the opportunity to prove it. Not the a-hole, and I'm willing to bet that the stepsister's wedding doesn't take place, and dad will try to come to yours. Do not let him. Block him at a lot of them, and have a beautiful wedding and a long and happy marriage. Or maybe the affair will be exposed at the wedding and she'll be humiliated. I'm petty enough to hope that happens. Not the a-hole. You set your date first. She set hers on the same date to force her father into choosing her. He did. There is nothing for you to do here, except recognize how awful they all are and choose not to keep this drama in your life. I will go no contact with a lot. That's what I plan to do. I already told him to get the heck out of my life, and I meant every word of it. Have you considered assuming your mom's surname before the wedding? If you don't already have it, that is. I think it'd be a good idea. Get rid of that toxicity once and for all. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother and his family stay at my place for Christmas because they borrowed my dog's toy last year? Last Christmas, my brother, his wife, and their 2 kids stayed at my house for the holidays. It was a bit chaotic, but I was happy to host. I have a golden retriever, Max, who is the love of my life and a huge part of my family. He has a favorite stuffed toy, a beat-up duck he's had since he was a puppy. This toy is his comfort object, and he always carries it around. During their stay, my niece, 6 at a time, got very attached to Max's duck. I told her it was Max's favorite toy and even showed her how much she loved it. When they left, I realized they had taken it home with them. I texted my brother thinking it was a misunderstanding and asked for it back. He said my niece cried about leaving it, so they let her keep it. I was pretty upset and explained that it wasn't just a random toy. It was Max's favorite. He said, "It's just a dog toy. Go buy another one." I told him they needed to send it back, but they refused. I even offered to buy my niece a new duck toy that looked the same, but they still said no because she was too attached to it now. Max was visibly sad for weeks afterward. He looked for his duck every day, and it broke my heart. I ended up scouring the internet to find the exact same duck, but Max never loved it as much as the original. Fast forward to this year. My brother asked if they could stay again for Christmas, and I told him no. He was shocked and asked why. I reminded him about the duck incident and how disrespectful it was. He said I was being petty and holding a grudge over a dog toy. My parents and other siblings are now calling me the Grinch and saying I'm punishing my niece for something she didn't understand at a time. To me, it's not about the toy, it's about the principle and a blatant disregard for my boundaries. If they couldn't respect something so small, why would I trust them to respect my home again? Am I the a-hole? If only your poor niece had decent parents who would help her understand. Children who are never taught right from wrong have such a hard time learning how to become decent members of society. You aren't reacting to your niece's mistake. She was just a child. You are protecting yourself and your family from adults who are devoid of compassion for others and have shown that they have no respect or regard for their own family when it inconveniences them. They have shown they can't be trusted in your home or car or allowed unsupervised access to basically anything. Because of their own choices, they have to deal with the consequences and can pay for a hotel or let someone else host them. Not the a-hole. She was 6. She was more than old enough to understand too. Not the a-hole. Why the heck would anyone want their kid to keep a goddamn toy that has been slobbered on and chewed by a dog? Freaking gross. Also, saying I'm punishing my niece for something she didn't understand at a time. If your 6-year-old doesn't understand, the toy's not yours, we can't take it home, then you have severely spoiled your child. I understood it by 4, probably. Definitely by 5 and certainly by 6. Exactly. They ruined that perfect opportunity to teach their child that 1, she can't have everything she wants, and 2, that she just can't take other people's things. Bad parents. They don't deserve treats for their bad behavior. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting so mad that my dad gave my half-sister something my mom left me? My mom died when I, 17 male, was 6. She left me a handmade box with my name on it, along with a letter tied to it for me to read when I was old enough. She also included the box and everything inside it in her will, explicitly stating that it was 100% meant to be mine and only for me, not for my dad or anyone else. My dad was supposed to keep it safe for me, so he kept it in his room. My dad has a daughter who's 8. His relationship with her mom broke down, and he has full custody of her, so we all live together. A few weeks ago, I noticed my half-sister had my mom's 3 bracelets that were inside my box. I asked her about it, and she said I wanted her to have them. I confronted my dad, and he told me it was a nice gesture, and he wanted me to let her keep them. He said I wouldn't wear them, so what's the harm? I got mad and told him those bracelets were my mom's, and I'm her only child. My dad told me that didn't matter. I said it does matter. I pointed out that his daughter is not my mom's child, and isn't who I would want to have them in the future. He told me I should consider it an act of accepting my half-sister, and that I don't make enough of an effort to do that. I told him this was the way to get me to accept her. We argued about it. I've been mad ever since, and I made my half-sister give the bracelets back. She resisted and cried, which pissed my dad off, but I never want her to have them. My dad told me my anger isn't fair and that I should look at the bigger picture. He said I should understand he still loves my mom and wanted my half-sister to have something from her. I told him to give her something he kept, not something my mom made clear was meant for me. I told him it couldn't be clearer, and his daughter doesn't deserve anything when she's not my mom's child. My dad told me my anger isn't right, and that I should reconsider my stance. He said being so angry about it shows I don't care about him or my half-sister. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Those are yours and you have every right to decide what to do with them. Your father is being emotionally manipulative. He could legally open a lawsuit that his father stole from him and failed as the executor of the will. If your dad thought this was in any way right, he would have talked to you before giving the items away. They weren't his to give, and he lied to his daughter as well because she thought you wanted her to have them. The comment you made about giving her something from your dad's pile of memories was spot on. Your dad betrayed your mom's memory by disregarding her will. He betrayed you by building some delusion that his dead wife would approve of him stealing from her child. You can love someone and lose respect for them, and you're rapidly losing respect for your selfish, untrustworthy excuse of a father. Your half-sister has a living mother. When she passes away, the kid can have whatever she wants from that woman. Until then, you're going to protect and treasure what your mom left you, because your dad has proven you can't trust him. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. This was something your mom left for you. Tell your dad this is something for you to pass on to your children, not a paternal half-sister. I told him that, and he said I could still give it to my half-sister, and it would be just as meaningful. I told him it wouldn't be for me. She's 8. Take it from her, hide it, and deny it. She'll forget, and it will demonstrate to your useless father that he shouldn't give things to an 8-year-old. I already got it back, but she refused at first. She's still upset about it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not saving the house so my brother can buy it? There is a lot to this situation, but I'll try to keep it brief. I, 25 female, have a mom, grandma, and great-grandpa who all lived on the same property. My mom and grandma share a house, while my great-grandpa had his own house next door. He sadly passed away about 2 years ago and the house went to my grandma. Even before my great-grandpa died, we had talked about me eventually buying the house and half the property from my grandma. We initially thought this would happen when I was around 30, but you can't really predict the death of a loved one that precisely. I had recently moved to a different city to be with my boyfriend, but he also agreed we would move back once we're ready to settle down. While my grandma was grieving and contemplating whether she wanted to sell, my mom suggested my little brother Luke, 19, and his girlfriend Emma, 20, move in temporarily. This would give them some privacy and, in turn, help maintain the house. No renovations or anything involving money. This year, my grandma decided she wants to sell the house next year because she needs money for her own renovations. Yesterday, I visited my family, and my grandma, mom, and I set a date to discuss how to proceed, cost, responsibilities, etc. That's when my brother interrupted, saying he should be involved since he's also interested in the house. This was the first I'd heard of it, but apparently my mom already knew. She said our main concern should be keeping the house in the family and suggested Luke and I could discuss later who will live in it and buy my grandma out. I told him I intended to let Luke and Emma live there rent-free for a few years while I focus on my career before settling down. However, I made it clear I would not invest in something unless I intended to make it my own one day. Property is expensive, and my boyfriend and I want to start investing now before we have major financial responsibilities, like children. My brother argued that since he and Emma have already been living there, it's unfair to expect them to leave when I decide to move back. I told him the alternative. He pays the full amount, he's a student and doesn't have a part-time job, next year, or grandma sells it to a stranger. My brother and mom called me selfish, saying I'd get the money back if he eventually bought it for me. However, for me, it's not just about the money, it's also about the financial strain. Paying off a loan would mean tightening our budget and effectively losing money due to inflation. It's true, I'm the only one able to pay my grandma to keep the house from being sold to strangers, but I feel they're putting an unfair expectation on me and guilt-tripping me by calling me selfish. Am I in the wrong here? I'd like some outside opinions. Let me rephrase their actual demand of you to the bare truth. You have to buy this house for us to live in however long we want, with no obligation to you except a vague statement about buying it from you eventually. Because family. See how crazy that is? Absolutely not, unless you are independently wealthy and have no issues with supporting your brother indefinitely. Given his response to your saying you'll want the house eventually if you're the one buying it, essentially, how dare you ask us to move out of our house before we're ready? I suspect you'll never get him out. Let the family handle the sale process, or you'll forever be labeled as the sibling who evicted their own brother. Your brother wants you to subsidize his life. Your family's desires shouldn't be used to put you in a crippling financial position. Don't let your mom and brother manipulate you with emotions. And don't come to a verbal agreement. Being screwed over in this situation could impact you for decades. If you're in the US, your boyfriend may be unprotected unless he's part of a contract or you're married. Asking him to contribute financially could also be risky. This isn't some game, and your mom has shown she's willing to play games to get what she wants. You cannot trust them to care about your financial interests when the time comes to sort it out. We would definitely get everything in writing and approved by a lawyer. I love my family, but the "I never said that" game is strong. My boyfriend and I aren't married yet, but we intend to write him into the contract, as well as stipulate what happens if we split.